Welcome to Don Bosco in a Year podcast.
Day 37. The Other Dream of Don Bosco. I seemed to be in a vast meadow with a huge crowd of boys who were fighting, swearing, stealing, and doing other blamable things. The air was thick with flying stones, hurled by youngsters who were fighting. They were all abandoned boys, devoid of moral principles. I was about to turn away when I saw a lady beside me. "Go among those boys," she said, "and work." I approached them, but what could I do? I had no place to gather them, but I wanted to help them. I kept turning to some people who were watching from a distance and who could have come to my aid, but no one paid attention or gave me any assistance. I then turned to the lady. "Here is a place," she said, and pointed to a meadow. "That's only a meadow," I said. She replied, "My son and his apostles did not even have a place to lay their heads." Refer Gospel of Matthew chapter 8 verses 20. I began to work in that meadow, counseling, preaching, hearing confessions. But I saw that almost all my efforts were in vain. I had to have some building where I could gather and house those abandoned by their parents and those despised and rejected by society. Then the lady led me a little further to the north and said, "Look." I did so and saw a small church with a low roof, a small courtyard, and a great number of boys. I resumed my work. But since the church was becoming too small, I again appealed to the lady, and she pointed out another church, much larger, and a house adjacent to it. Then she took me closer to a field that was tilled and that lay almost opposite the facade of this new church. "In this place," she added, "where the glorious martyrs of Turin, Adventure, and Octavius suffered martyrdom, on these clods, soaked and sanctified by their blood. I wish that God be honored in a very special manner." So saying, she put out a foot and pointed to the exact spot where so as to find the place again when I returned. But I could not see a single stick or stone. Nevertheless, I kept the place clearly in mind. It coincides exactly with the front left corner as one faces the main altar of the Church of Mary, Help of Christians. In the meantime, I found myself being surrounded by a very vast and ever-increasing number of boys. But as I kept looking to the lady, the premises and the means were also growing accordingly. I saw then a very grand church on the very spot she had pointed out as the place where the soldiers of the Theban Legion had been martyred. There were a great many buildings all around, and in the center stood a beautiful monument. While these things were taking place, and I was still dreaming, I saw that priests and clerics were helping me. But after a while, they left. I tried everything to get others to stay, but after a while, they too left me alone. Then I turned once more to the lady for help. "Do you want to know what to do to keep them?" she asked. "Take this ribbon and bind their foreheads with it." Reverently, I took the white ribbon from her hand and noticed the word obedience written on it. I immediately gave it a try and began to bind the foreheads of these volunteers. The ribbon worked wonders as I went ahead with the mission entrusted to me. All my helpers gave up the idea of leaving me and stayed on. Thus was our congregation born.
Thank you for joining us today on this journey to know Don Bosco. May these reflections deepen our faith, guide us closer to God each day, and hope to see you all tomorrow. Till then, keep seeking, keep praying, keep growing.